General Hospital spoilers and updates suggest that Michael Corinthos was interrogated, and Carly Spencer advised Lulu Spencer. In addition, Jack Brennan made an offer to Nina Reeves, while Portia Robinson broke her relationship with Isaiah Gannon. Michael questioned Anna Devane, and Dante Falconeri officially questioned him at the PCPD. Diane Miller already represented Alexis, so she assigned Marco Rios to represent Michael at his meeting with Dante and Anna. As he was formally probed about his conduct the night before, Michael admitted that he went to the Port Charles Grill after learning of Judge Eva Heron's death. Michael claimed he went to unwind and struck up a discussion with Jacinda Bracken in the bar, unaware she was the escort who had previously been pictured with Drew. Read more. Find out what occurred on the last episode of JH. Anna observed that Michael and Jacinda must have had a strong connection because when Dante found him earlier that evening, he was with Ms. Bracken for the second night in a row. At that point, he chose to return home to the Quartermaines. Michael remembered getting into his car amid the rainstorm and taking a big, relaxing breath. Returning to the present, he stated that Jacinda could confirm where he had been and exchanged a glance with Dante. Then Dante revealed that when he asked Drew about who might have shot him, the congressman only mentioned Michael. Marco interrupted when Anna brought up Michael punching out Drew. Anna brought up the incident where Michael allegedly attacked Drew at the Metro Court, but Marco cut the conversation short because there was no formal complaint. After she finished her questioning, Anna told Michael he may leave for now. After Michael and Marco left, Dante confided in Anna about his concerns about Jacinda serving as his brother's alibi. Dante continued, "You can hire an escort for the firm, so why not pay her to be your alibi?" After deciding that they wanted to question Jacinda, Anna emphasized that they couldn't rule out Michael as a suspect just yet. In the meantime, Marco and Michael went to the Port Charles Grill. Carly advised Lulu. As Michael and Marco discussed the case, Lulu brought Carly over to talk, revealing Brennan's request that she allow Charlotte Cassadine to visit Valentine Cassadine at Steinmauer. He warned that denying might be a mistake because the youngster may require WSB protection in the future, as Lulu mentioned. Lulu was apprehensive that allowing the visit would be detrimental to her daughter, who was distraught after being separated from Valentine when he first went to prison. Carly advised her cousin to let Charlotte make the decision regarding the visit alone. However, Lulu believed it was essential to leave the past behind and focus on the present. "I just don't see any benefit from a visit with Valentine," Lulu argued. "And no one can change my mind about that." Carly cautioned Charlotte that she would detest her. Brennan made Nina a deal. Jack contacted Nina at the Port Charles Grill, thinking she could persuade Lulu to set up a meeting between Charlotte and Valentine. Nina was hesitant to get involved, knowing that it would make Charlotte a target. Nina indicated that Jack's plea would have been received better if he hadn't needed Valentine's help. Brennan pointed out that she and Willow Tate may benefit from assisting him, arguing that their alibi for Drew's shooting was flawed. "If you assist me with Charlotte now, the WSB will help you when you and your daughter need it. Honestly, I believe that day is approaching quickly," he joked. Jack left the restaurant after encouraging Nina to think it over and inform him of her decision. Nina then focused on Michael, who was drinking at the bar. Trina confided in Emma while at Bad Gen Cafe with Kai Taylor. Trina Robinson was relieved to receive a call from Drew's other assistant. The congressman was awake, but she became concerned that Drew had observed them at his home the night he was wounded. Drew was still ignorant that he had switched sides, so Kai headed to the hospital to see whether his boss had any suspicions. Trina barely noticed Emma Scorpio Drake's presence at the cafe, which alarmed her friend. Emma served Trina tea, sat down, and gave a listening ear while Jocelyn was still out. When Trina expressed her guilt for her parents' problematic marriage, Emma reminded her that she was not to blame for their happiness and should concentrate on her own well-being. General Hospital recap September 10th. Michael interrogated, Carly advises Lulu. Jack makes a deal with Nina. Portia ends things with Isaiah in Portia's office. Isaiah praised her and Lucas Jones for saving Drew's life, but the chief of staff regretted leaving Dr. Gannon's bed that night. Portia stated that it was tough to feel pleased about the successful operation in light of Drew's awful actions toward those she loves about. She also wished she hadn't left Isaiah's bed, because the upheaval in her life, combined with her status as his boss, meant that whatever transpired between them could never be repeated. Isaiah agreed to respect her decision and keep their affair private, telling her, "If you ever change your mind, I'd be very interested in seeing where things could go between us. Portia responded that she would like that as well, but they weren't the only ones a relationship would affect, and she couldn't do that to Trina. Isaiah stated that he will continue to hope for a change. Elizabeth updated Lucas elsewhere at JH. Lucas and Elizabeth Weber discussed the increasing police presence since Drew awoke. Liz wished to avoid being questioned since she had heard Carly threaten to kill Drew, which made Lucas nervous. He was convinced that his sister had not shot Drew. Well, you may be certain, but I am not. Your sister was furious, she shouted. She believes Drew endangers Michael, Wiley, and Amelia Corinthos, and we all know how far Carly will go to defend those she cares about. Willow conferred with Chase at the hub. Willow informed Detective Harrison Chase that she was unsure about reuniting with Drew, but that he was her best option for obtaining custody of Wiley and Amelia. Later, Elizabeth informed her that Rick Lansing would be away on a digital detox for an indeterminate duration, leaving Willow without legal representation. Willow felt more than ever that Drew was her last hope of defeating Michael after Rick and Judge Heron died, despite Liz's attempts to persuade her otherwise. As much as I dislike Drew, if I want my children back, I will need him with me, says Willow. Elizabeth encouraged her to continue working hard to demonstrate to whatever judge replaced Heron in court that she was capable of being a responsible mother, Drew or not. Drew points the finger at Curtis while Curtis ignored Chase's questions in Drew's room. He blamed Michael for shooting him and then implicated Curtis Ashford, despite the fact that he had not seen the intruder. Despite Drew's attempts to influence him further, Curtis seized control by emphasizing Drew's vulnerability. Someone attempted to kill you. Who's to say they won't return to complete the job? He pondered. Curtis left when Lucas arrived, but not before expressing his hope that Drew would not interfere with his recuperation. Chase accosted Curtis as he left the hospital, asking about his whereabouts the night of the shooting. Curtis refused to respond without a lawyer present. Chase contacted the desk sergeant to check Curtis' exact departure time from the station the previous night, following Stella Henry's arraignment. Lucas conducts an examination in Drew's room. Lucas evaluated the congressman to determine if the placement of the second bullet had any long-term consequences. Fortunately, Drew exhibited no signs of paralysis, which Lucas credited to Dr. Robinson's competence. The true miracle is that she saved my life, Drew quipped. Lucas acknowledged Portia's surgical expertise, but stated he wasn't particularly fond of Drew, as Carly and Michael were his true family. Kai arrives at Drew's but will not do him the favor he requests next. Kai arrived, hoping to ascertain whether Drew had any doubts about his being at the house on the night of the shooting. Still confident of his intern's loyalty, Drew directed Kai to retrieve the goods from his safe. However, Kai, assuming Drew was looking for the evidence against Portia that he had destroyed, stated his unease with sneaking into the house, citing it as a crime scene. Drew eventually let the situation go. After leaving Drew's room, Kai approached Willow and told her Drew wanted to see her. Willow entered his room, closed the blinds, stood straight with her shoulders back, and concentrated her stare on her ex-fiancé while he slept. Drew awoke, and Willow prepared to hear what he had to say. Share your opinions in the comments area below. Keep watching ABC soap operas to find out what happens next. General Hospital spoilers for Thursday, September 11th, state that Britt Westbourne will surprise Port Charles, while Dante Falconeri presses Michael Corinthos for the actual story. Nina Reeves will also make a surprise pitch, so here is what spectators may expect. Lucas Jones on GH may alert Carly Spencer that Elizabeth Baldwin is skeptical of her. Liz has pledged to tell the police what she overheard if they ask, which might reveal that Carly threatened Drew's life. Lucas will have some concerns regarding Carly's threat, but she may say it wasn't serious. Jack Brennan is also Carly's alibi, so she may believe she's safe. Of course, Michael cannot be said to be innocent because Drew suspects him. That's why Michael is relying on Jacinda Bracken as his alibi, but Dante will be doubtful. Dante will confront Michael about his claims to have been with Jacinda the night of the shooting and demand answers. Dante, who knows Michael well, will suspect that he is not hearing the whole story. Michael really ran into Jacinda at the Port Charles Grill, where he bought her a drink. The difficulty is that Michael did not spend much time with Jacinda, and he is not informing the cops about his drive over to Drew's residence. Nonetheless, Michael may assure Dante that he is giving the complete truth, even if Dante continues to question it. Back at the hospital, Drew will make a bold prediction about Michael's impending demise. Drew will promise Willow Tate that they will get her children back after predicting Michael's arrest, assuming he hasn't already. Carly will also hear Drew rage about Michael going to jail, so she will be upset for her son's sake, even if she tries to hide it. Nina will then opt to accept Jack Brennan's offer. Nina and Willow may face difficulties as a result of the Drew case, so having someone with WSB connections on their side may be beneficial. However, Nina must comply with Brennan's wishes before she may reap the advantages. That is why Nina will surprise Lulu Spencer at home and try to persuade her to let Charlotte Cassadine meet Valentine Cassadine. Lulu may doubt why she should listen to Nina, but Nina will provide some valid reasons. Nina will encourage Lulu to take charge and make everything work in her advantage, so Lulu may eventually back down on the Steinmauer visit. On the flight back to Port Charles, Jason Morgan will provide Britt with a safe area to open up. Britt hasn't revealed how she survived or who she's been working for, so Jason will gently persuade her to confess. Britt will have some trust concerns to work out, so she won't give Jason all of the information he wants right now. When the plane lands, Britt will make her official return to PC, shaking things up. Jason will assist Britt in her comeback, but he will be unable to prevent the wrath that is brewing. Naturally, people will have to recover from the shock of seeing Britt before doing anything else. It looks Dante will be one of the first to notice Britt, as he will face a surprise on Thursday's episode. According to General Hospital teasers, Britt's return will raise many questions and concerns, so stay tuned for more information on all of the mayhem. CDL will have all the latest General Hospital spoilers, updates, and news, so check back soon for more GH tidbits. Michael sat at the table in the little room, where the tension was strong enough to cut through with a knife. The harsh fluorescent lights created shadows on his face, making his jawline appear sharper, and his demeanor more serious than usual. He leaned forward slightly, attempting to remain calm, but the weight of the situation pressed down on him, and no partnership would stay unaffected in the days ahead. His fingers delicately tapped the table, revealing the anxieties he was trying so hard to hide. Across from him, the investigator flipped through a folder, the pages rustling at an almost methodical pace that made each second feel longer than the last. Michael understood what was going on, and while he had psychologically prepared for this moment, nothing could take away the sense that he was being watched. He had grown up amid interrogations, seen loved ones and adversaries alike sit across from law enforcement with their fates hanging in the balance, but being in that chair himself was very different. The queries were delivered in measured tones, probing for flaws, discrepancies, and anything that could be converted into leverage. He provided brief, precise responses, taking care not to volunteer much or look evasive. But deep down his chest clenched with each new question. The investigation was not limited to him. It included his family, his choices, the relationships he had formed, and the silences he had maintained. He thought of his children, Willow, and the delicate balance they were attempting to maintain. Every word he said posed the risk of tipping the balance. He urged himself to remain calm and keep the mask in place, but his heart raced. Carly was doing what she'd always done best. Leading, advising, and when necessary steering those she cared about in the direction she thought they should go. Lulu had reached a crossroads divided between duty, pain, and the twisted web of familial allegiance. Carly sat across from her, eyes steady, voice gentle but persistent. She'd been through enough wars, both emotional and literal, to recognize when someone was about to make a decision that might change their destiny. "Don't second-guess yourself," Carly advised quietly, her hand resting on the arm of the chair as if to keep Lulu in the moment. "You've been through too much to let fear dictate your choices right now." Lulu moved, her eyes watering, the battle playing out on her face. She wanted to believe she was strong enough, but the past weighed heavily on her, with each error reminding her of how fleeting pleasure might be. Carly leaned in, her voice low but firm, assuring her that she didn't have to bear the burden of everyone else's sins, that she had the right to follow her own path without remorse. Lulu listened intently, absorbing each word, her heart torn between pain and hope. Meanwhile, in another portion of Port Charles, Jack was discreetly making his own movements. He had a reputation for being calculating, for recognizing chances where others saw difficulties, and he was living up to it once more. Nina was in his sights this time, her world already swaying precariously, and Jack had anticipated the ideal moment to strike. Their meeting was held in a setting that appeared almost too casual for the gravity of his proposal. A quiet corner, a bottle of wine, an ambience that promised routine even though the topic at hand was everything but. Jack carefully planned his remarks, with each statement intended to intrigue rather than frighten. He portrayed the sale as an opportunity, a lifeline that Nina might seize to help her circumstances. Nina listened closely, her emotions swirling with mistrust, curiosity, and the unmistakable pull of desperation. She'd learned long ago that nothing comes free, especially in this town, but the offer in front of her was enticing. Jack was convincing, his charm modest but powerful, and he understood precisely which of Nina's vulnerabilities to exploit. He didn't press too hard. Instead, he gave her just enough space to contemplate how bad things could get if she didn't accept what he was offering. Meanwhile, Michael's grilling went on for hours, until time became irrelevant. The detective changed tactics, asking new questions and scrutinizing old responses for flaws. Michael's mind worked overtime, recalling information and modifying recollections on the spot to maintain consistency. He kept reminding himself about the big picture. He wasn't simply protecting himself. He was also protecting others who relied on him to maintain the line. Every pause and careful phrase was for something bigger than this place. As exhaustion set in, he found courage in memories of Willow's face, her unflinching support, and the children who deserved a future free of the evils of the past. That vision gave him the determination to persevere. Finally, when the investigator closed the folder and leaned back, quiet was more powerful than words. It was far from finished, but Michael had made it through this round. Back with Carly and Lulu, the discussion had changed. Carly sensed Lulu's uncertainty and pushed her to consider not only what she dreaded, but also what she stood to gain. She reminded her that strength did not imply standing alone, and that it was acceptable to rely on those who cared about her. Carly talked with a blend of pragmatism and compassion, qualities that had made her a strong foe and a fierce ally over the years. Lulu, torn but contemplative, started to see a glimmer of hope. Carly wasn't simply coaching her. She was giving her the confidence to take a step ahead. And Jack, ever the strategist, left Nina with his proposal hanging in the air, both a promise and a threat. He didn't need her answer right away. He knew the seed had been placed, and that her own worries and wants would eventually water it till it grew. He played the long game, believing Nina's desire would eventually outweigh her concerns. In these occasions, Michael, Carly, Lulu, Nina, and Jack's lives intersected in both obvious and unseen ways. Michael's silence in the interrogation room, Carly's advice to Lulu, and Jack's interaction with Nina were all threads in the same tapestry of Port Charles, a tapestry created from secrets, decisions, and the constant tug of loyalty and ambition. Each of them was progressing in their own way, but the consequences of their deeds were destined to collide. As night descended over the city, the tension persisted, unspoken but apparent. Michael knew the questions would come back harder and sharper this time. Carly realized Lulu's next move may change everything. Nina considered the arrangement Jack had proposed, knowing that accepting it could change her future in ways she wasn't prepared to admit. And Jack? He smiled gently to himself, planning his next move. The game was far from over, and each player was aware that they had only begun to test their resolve. But one thing was certain: no decision would be without consequences,